I have created a lot of Fakemon on this channel. Some you may have seen if you watch my videos, and some you may have not if you're new to the channel or you just missed them. With that said, in this video, I'm going to be showing you 50 Pokemon that I have given new forms and evolutions to over the years. And we're going to start, naturally, with some starter Pokemon. These are Ice-type forms of Totodile and Mudkip that I did as part of a simple type swap, and honestly, you can put the Ice-type on basically anything and it'll look amazing, so I wanted to do that here. And I don't believe these two are any exception in the amazing looking department. Once upon a time, I also created some Univin forms of Chestnut, Blaziken, and Feraligatr as part of a Legends Univa concept video. Chestnut is a Grass Steel type, Blaziken is a Fire Electric type, and Feraligatr is a Water Ghost type. And that video is one that I would recommend checking out in full to see even more because it was a really fun one. You can't really cover starters, though, without talking about the Charizard line, and I have done a form for both Charmander and Charizard. This Charizard is a regional variant, again, maybe something that you would find in a Legends game, and it is a Fire Dark type. Meanwhile, this Charmander form is a little more unique, because it comes from a video where I explored what it would be like if older Pokemon regions got their own signature Pokemon form like a lot of the newer regions have. And this is a weather form of Charmander from the Hoenn region that Charmander would turn into whenever it is raining. And speaking of Pokemon forms from newer regions, we obviously just saw the introduction of Paradox Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, so I imagined what it would be like if starter Pokemon got that treatment, with these future Paradox forms of Cyndaquil and Rowlet. Iron Quills, as I called Cyndaquil, is an electric type. Maybe should have been electric fire though to retain that original typing of Cyndaquil, and Iron Sphere, as I called Rowlet, is an electric grass type. This is just the tip of the iceberg though, because next we're going to look at some legendary Pokemon. But as we do, I want to shout out all of these amazing artists who I worked with to create all of these designs. Obviously they are amazing and will be linked in the description below if you would like to check them out. Speaking of legendary Pokemon though, giving Mega Evolutions to legendaries is something that I like to do as well, and have done with Entei, Suicune, and Raikou. They all gain a secondary type in these Mega Evolutions as well, with Entei gaining the ground type for its volcanic theme, Suicune gaining the ice type as it kinda has an Aurora Borealis type vibe to it, and then Raikou gains the dark type to portray a thunderstorm type of theme. And with the legendary beasts covered, I obviously had to also give Megas to Lugia and Ho-Oh too, especially because they're one of the few box legendaries without some kind of signature extra form, so they're definitely due for one. Mega Lugia is a water psychic type to give it back that water type that it should have had in the first place, and Ho-Oh is fire psychic, which essentially unifies these two as a duo, because both of them now have a shared type in psychic and also opposite types in fire and water that distinguish them from each other. I've actually gone kind of crazy with Ho-Oh and Lugia, believe it or not, because there are just so many possibilities for what new forms of them could be like. With that said, my personal favorites that I have done would have to be these Sunrise and Sunset forms. First off, the names of the forms themselves and their concepts just match the themes of Johto perfectly in my opinion, since Johto introduced the day and night cycle, and it's kind of a big deal in those games, and I just also love the look of the designs too. Sunrise Ho-Oh is a fire psychic type once again, but Sunset Lugia is psychic dark, as it is now embodying the night side of this day and night equation. These two were also a part of a Legends Johto video that I did, which is another one that I would recommend checking out in full. We don't want to give all the love to just the starters and the legendaries though, so I have also done a lot of cool forms and evolutions for regular Pokemon too, like this evolution of Druddigon that I call Drablegon. It leans into the cave-dwelling vibes of Druddigon and becomes a dragon rock type. I also recently did some water-fire type regional variants of Corphish and Crawdont, and I did that because Corphish's dex entries talk about how it was imported into Hoenn from its original home, and that it can survive in just about any environment. So I imagined these two as the original forms of the Pokemon that lived in volcanic environments, which is one of the harshest environments that are out there. I also recently did this Univan Phalanx, and although Phalanx is kind of a whatever Pokemon to me personally, I feel like the concept of this design is just genuinely perfect, because it uses Phalanx's design being comprised of multiple individual members, and it uses its status as the formation Pokemon to create a variant that is based on football players, hence why it's a Univan form. I just honestly feel like that's a perfect concept, and to make things even more interesting, it's also a fire fighting type as well. Something else that is also pretty fire is all of the merch on my merch store. Every single bit of support on this stuff goes right back into making videos for you guys and makes videos like the one you're watching right now possible. The merch itself is also pretty cool too, because we got stuff like this Volcachi plush that is super cute and comes with a limited edition promo card. There's also the Narwade plush featuring Narwade from my Pokemon Cardinal series, and we have even got trading cards as well featuring some of the Fakemon from my videos, including Narwade, Shrubberus, and Embit from my Pokemon Cardinal series. It's all really cool and high quality stuff, and like I said, every bit of support helps to make content possible for you guys. So be sure to check it out with the link in the description. It is immensely appreciated. And now, back to the video. Moving along though, one thing that you basically have to do if you make Fakemon is make some Eeveelutions, and I recently did some for all of the unused Eeveelution types. For example, we've got a bug type Eeveelution named Antennion, a ghost type Eeveelution named Mummion, and a fighting type Eeveelution named Champion. We've also got a normal type named Eeveon, a poison type named Maligneon, and a flying type named Avion, which was also meant to kind of be a visualization of what the cut flying type evolution could have looked like, which was recently revealed to have existed and was planned for Pokemon Sun and Moon. There are even more evolutions than just those ones though, as I've also done a dragon type named Draconion, a steel type named Titanion, a ground type named Terrion, and a rock type named Craggion. It's not just Eevee that I've given evolutions to though, because there's also a lot of other Pokemon that I've given new evolutions to as well. While technically not my own creation, I have done a couple of different renditions for what Gorochu could have looked like, which is the previously revealed cut evolution of Raichu. This one is a little more traditional to what it probably looked like, while this one is a little bit more of a different take on the concept. I've also explored some ideas for a Love Disc evolution, since that thing desperately needs something to happen to it, and I've gone in the direction of both a Broken Heart with Grievish and a Heart of Gold with Auramore, which honestly could work pretty great in tandem as like a branched evolution for Love Disc. Auramore is a Water Steel type, while Grievish is a Water Ghost type. And I tend to enjoy working with the ghost type because I also did it with an evolution of Parasect I made called Parageist. The idea is that the mushroom on its back has just fully taken over every aspect of this Pokemon, and it's now essentially a zombie bug, which gives it the bug ghost typing. Another ghost that I have evolved is Mimikyu, because I figure if it is mimicking Pikachu, then it could evolve into something that mimics Raichu, which I have called Mimicry. I've also done a Marowak evolution named Fosternum that also gains the ghost type to become Ground Ghost, in going along with the whole Cubone storyline. And while it's not a ghost type, I've also done a Skarmory evolution, which is probably one of my personal favorites, named Skartillery. And honestly, yeah, I really feel like this thing needs to exist in some kind of capacity. Since Applin recently got a new evolution in Diplin, and then it also got another new evolution in Hydrapple, I also decided to give evolutions to Applin's other two second stage Evos. Pterodapple is Flapple's evolution, while Steragon is Appleton's evolution. And if that name sounds a little atypical for a member of the Applin family, I will say that there is a reason behind it, which I go into a little more depth in this video right here. We've covered about 40 Pokemon to this point, which means we've got about 10 more designs to show. So to finish things off with a bang, let's go ahead and look at an assortment of Mega Evolutions for some starters, legendaries, and even mythicals. I've done a Mega Chestnut, Delphox, and Greninja, which may or may not have already been revealed for Legends ZA at this point, but these designs were created long before ZA was even announced, when I was imagining myself what a Legends Kalos game could be like. So it'll be interesting to see how these compared to the most likely happening official versions. On the mythical side of things, I also recently gave Megas to Celebi, Darkrai, and Deoxys, and all of them gain new types. Celebi becomes part Fairy type, as it kinda seems like it should have once the Fairy type was introduced. Darkrai gains the Ghost type, and Deoxys gains the Dark type. On the legendary front, I also gave some Megas to Groudon and Kyogre, even though they have primal reversions because it was honestly just for the fun of it at the end of the day, and these two actually ended up becoming some of my most seen and viewed designs ever. I made Mega Groudon into a ground fire type to represent a volcanic theme, and Kyogre becomes a water dark type to represent the dark depths of the sea. Then, we have also got a more random assortment of legendaries, but with designs that I also just love, and that would be Mega Kyurem, Mega Solgaleo, and Mega Terapagos. Mega Terapagos was just for fun back when we didn't really know anything about it, and I made it a pure dragon type, which probably wouldn't make sense in actuality, but at the same time, maybe it could work. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Mega Solgaleo, meanwhile, I made into a Psychic Fire type, because even if its typing does make sense, I also feel like if it got a new form like a Mega or something like that, that it would only be right for it to gain the Fire type. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Mega Kyurem, who doesn't change its typing, but it does look really cool, and sometimes that's all you really need. Be sure to let me know which of these 50 designs is your favorite in the comments, and who you would like to see get a new form or evolution in a future video. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed as well, and until the next one, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will smell you guys later.